Hey everyone, this is One Man Zerg with UEN.com, and I'm showing you some tips on Ghost and Tactical Nuking today. This is a game between Liquid TLO and Liquid Nazgul, and it's a very interesting game, but these tips are, able to be used anywhere. So what you're going to see him do is you're going to see him bring in these troops where Liquid Nazgul can't see him, and then he's going to cloak that Ghost so Liquid Nazgul can't see that unless he had an observer, and then he's gonna nuke him. So by cloaking the Ghost and bringing him in where he can't be seen, your opponent isn't going to know where to look for the nuke, because he has 4 bases or several bases, or you might be nuking on any side of his base. Then right when your nuke's going to go off, you bring in those troops to do that extra damage, so you can take out some critical buildings. You see right here he's taking out a robotics bay, because that builds Colossus, and TLO doesn't want to see any more Colossus right now. And then once he sees, oh hey, there's too many things for me to stick around and do more damage, I'm going to get out and get to safety. One thing you'll see him do though is he does scan there afterwards, and this is an old game, so it's that old scanner. And then he could bring his troops back if he sees his opponent moving his troops away and do some more damage to that base. Another tip, drop your troops behind the base to do some harass. Get that Ghost, cloak that Ghost again so that your opponent can't bring in some Zealots or some normal troops to kill it. And then when you're right outside of range with those cannons, drop a nuke on those cannons. And then you can, after you destroy those cannons, you can bring in some troops from the front that maybe you didn't have enough medevacs to drop them, or it was just easier to bring them in from the front. And bring in those troops from the front to finish off your opponent's base. And then your opponent won't be able to have that expansion, and he wasted all that money on building all those defenses for that expansion. And then this is a cool little trick he does. He gets his Ghost and he nukes behind where his army is. And you can do this in front of your army or behind your army to inhibit an opponent from moving in his army to get to yours, so your army can finish the job, or can get to safety, or can only fight the force you want to fight at that time. And then another tip is, in a late game, in a war of attrition, nuke your opponent's base, so he has to pull all those probes off the line, and so he can't get that income that he so desperately needs at that point in the game. If you're on 1 or 2 bases and it's late game, this is great to really, make sure you have that income advantage, and you're forcing your opponent to not do what he wants to do with his income. And then after your opponent brings back all of his units, then you can drop another nuke on him. You can see all his probes are coming back, his army's coming back. You might have to wait for that army to leave, because if there's an army and an observer, they'll take out that Ghost. But after it leaves, you can see Colossus are moving over here on the left. Then you nuke them again. You can bring in some extra troops to help bring down that base as well, if you can spare them. And don't bring in any troops to die like this Viking did right here. But bring in those extra troops to help kill it. And then remember, war of attrition, just wear them down. So remember, bring in your troops from the back where they can't be seen, cloak the Ghost so he can't be seen, your opponent has to look at that red dot to find him. Then bring in your troops for some extra firepower once your nuke is dropping, to do some damage to some critical tech structures, in this case a robotics bay, but really whatever it is that's going to hurt you. And then when your opponent brings in troops that you can't deal with, just get your troops out of there and make sure that he is losing more than you are, or she. And then another one, bring in some troops for harassment, use that Ghost to drop a nuke on their defenses, then bring your troops in to finish off the base that you just nuked. And then once your troops are in there finishing off that base, if there's an army coming at you that you can't take, just drop a nuke where the fight would be fought, and then you can't be fought there anymore, and your troops can do what they need. And war of attritions, just wear them down. Nuke their base until they bring back their probes. After they bring back their probes, if there's not an army there again, well, then nuke their base again, because that's going to give you the upper hand in the economy fight in the late game. And don't bring in your own troops to die to that nuke. That's a very important thing that you should never do. It's on our fails blog, or fails video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. You can go to the UEN.com or the UEN TV if you want more tips and tricks like this. Thanks so much for listening, and have fun playing StarCraft.